Alright folks, and we're back at it. Made some progress yesterday and we're generating output right now from it. So I have here, this is what I'd like the output to look like for a character in text mode. And I'm making good progress so far. I've got as far as outputting the skills. I've got the attributes, the name, the attributes. These are the talents. These are the skills. The only thing I'm really missing now is the weapons. So let's go and put that in. Alright, so this here is the output of the skills. And so the next step will be the weapons. We'll follow the same pattern. We'll see if the weapons are empty. I'm actually kind of jumping ahead just a little bit on this. I really shouldn't be. Should not be doing that without having a test around empty weapons or not. But there is, this campaign is starting up soon, so there is some pressure to get some stuff done. So I want to put that in there now, but I actually do need to go back and write a test around it because I want this to behave properly for a character who maybe doesn't even have weapons. They're more of a social character. So just a second, I'm fooling around on the dashboard to make sure I'm actually getting everything that I need. And let's see here. So if my weapons aren't empty, I'm just looking at that template down below in the red. And I want the name columns aligned, and the skills columns aligned. So in both cases, that means I need links. And this isn't entirely the right way to do this, these for loops. There's maybe a better method I could use. The newer ranges and views on lists. I'm not quite ready to do that yet. I'm not familiar enough with those. I'll probably come back and refactor this code so that it starts to look more like that. Let's see, so C dot weapons. And the way to figure out how long the field needs to be, or the way that I use, is I just output the content to a stream and then I measure it, and longest one wins. Going to output the name of the weapon. So this is in the second parameter. This is weapons is a hash map, which is a list of a standard pair, which has a first element and a second element. The first element is the key, the second element is the value. So we're going to output second name. That's a simple string, so there won't be anything problematic there. And we'll need the skill there. And now let's see. Sorry, my brain stopped there. Okay, I'm checking for links here, so if the length of the name text is longer than my name length equals name text str length. I'm using this pattern often enough that I need to find a way to make it easier, so I don't have to retype this all the time. I haven't given that enough thought. That's going to be one of the refactor things I do. I really want this output method is just too long right now. I'm very unhappy with it and the size of it. But until I get it down a little, or sort of bowl my way through this the hard way and get a passing test that I can use as my metric, I don't feel like it's appropriate to start trying to make it more efficient. So we're going to repeat that pattern there. Okay, so now I know the width of each of the columns. So that's good. And now we're going to go back through that list again. Now when I was doing the skills, I learned the hard way. Like setting field widths has to be done a little carefully. Because sometimes when I'm outputting a class, I'm actually outputting pushing things to the stream multiple times. And here I'm not, so it's actually probably safe to not worry about this. So let's see if I get away with this. Skills are composed of multiple parts. The skill output, which is the name and the attribute, and things were. I was setting field widths, and only the name was getting output into a field with the right width. The attribute was getting put after it, and it looked weird. All right, so this is out p dot second. Well, just a second. That's not right. So if you're not familiar with the CIO formatting syntax, this is setting the width to that length. I think that's pretty obvious. This is telling it to make the field left aligned, because the thing we're most likely to output is numbers. They totally just output everything right aligned. Something had to be picked as a default. I guess that's as good as anything else. We need 2 spaces between things, and repeat this pattern. Skill length, put left, 2 spaces. 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 2 spaces again between columns. It just makes it a little more visually easier to understand. I did actually experiment with that. Okay, and now we output the string damage. And I don't need to set a width for these values. They never go above single digits, just because of the scale of things in this game. So, interestingly, my test is slightly wrong. Huh. That's really interesting. So my test is slightly wrong. I'm just going to make this pass as it is, and then I will fix the test to match it. But that line that says knife, that's a brawling weapon. Its damage is based on the strength of the user. And to indicate that, we put a plus in the column. So next to the number for damage. But I didn't put that in the example. I'm just going to make this pass first, and then I will go back and fix it to match what it's supposed to be. I also think I didn't make the data in the test match that, so failure on multiple fronts there. All right, damage, less than, or damage, and then I'm going to put out p dot second to damage. Crit. I'm really seeing here p dot second needs to be its own variable. I'm tired of typing p dot second all the time. All right, p dot second is crit. I didn't do anything about specials in there. I probably should at some point, if you have special properties on the weapon, like accuracy or something like that, that does need to be noted. But we aren't there right now, so I'm not gonna do that. All right, and so we can just put a new line there, and I think that's good. Let's see how we're doing here. I mean, we're actually coming along pretty well. We've got another test that's failing. That's actually been failing most of the morning. And I do need to go fix that. I've just kind of been ignoring it because it's looked more fun to do. Oh, we're doing pretty good. We're just missing a blank line there. And then I think we've actually got this. Okay, that's great. And I knew I needed that blank line and I just forgot to put it in. Yeah, okay, so we actually got that. As much as I'd like to go fix this other problem, we're on the output right now. Let's deal with the output just for the moment. That's a failing test for something that's mildly an edge condition. And so I don't want to go after it right now, but I probably should go after it pretty soon. Alright, so I'm looking in the wrong spot. I need to be looking over here in test character. And so the knife is a brawling weapon, and this should be a +1, and that increases the space there. Suddenly now I have to set a width, and I have to tell my output formatting that I need to show signs. So that's okay, that's easy to do. In fact, I've done it in another place because there's a short format for outputting the weapon. It's already done. And I will just go look what I did there. Okay, so that should fail. If you weren't following yesterday, these are the BDD style tests. I'm still using those. I'm very enamored of them, and I hope to continue using them. Okay. We failed because we don't look right, because we aren't doing the thing. All right, so let's go back in here. Let's see where I did this for the weapon. There's only so many places. Oh, wow. I actually don't. I maybe don't have an output operator for it. I thought I did. Let me go check this. Yeah, I do have output for weapon. Okay, this right here demonstrates it. So that's an honest to goodness weapon that's really getting output. It's really doing the right thing. All right, so I think it's like this. Oh, I thought I was doing something clever where I was doing some special output formatter. I'm literally just outputting outputting a plus sign. I was hoping for something much more sophisticated than what I got, so that's all right. It does not matter. I don't need to use the latest, coolest C++ toys, even though I like to. All right. First, let's make that weapon a brawl weapon, because it's not right now. That's part of my test. All right, so that is there. And all right, that's there. So that's just a test setup thing. Here I need to go and brawl marker, which is normally going to be an empty space. I can do this off of, geez, I only need a character. Use the ternary operator. There's a really good chance I'll regret doing that later. But for now, we're using our ternary operator. Brawl marker, we're going to spell this correctly, otherwise it sounds like we're missing teeth, which I suppose we've been in a lot of brawls might be an issue. All right, and now let's get our output and see what we get. Okay, it solved it. That's beautiful. So that means that it now looks exactly like this here. That's what I want to see. So that's going to make things nice. Next item up for bids. Let's fix that failing test. It bothers me that it's failing. With expansion 0 not equal to null pointer, but in fact it is equal to null pointer. Ah, okay. So this is actually kind of the behavior I want. What it's doing is the behavior I actually want. I didn't change the test name yesterday, but let's just go take a look at get talent reference here. Okay, so it came up with nothing. Okay, and that's because that's an array of shared pointers. And so if it wasn't in there, the default value for a shared pointer is in fact null, or 0. And so that actually makes sense. And it's actually pretty awesome. That's kind of exactly what I want. Okay, it's in test model. That's why I'm not finding it. Yeah, if that comes back 0, then I know, in fact, that I didn't get anything. So I'm actually good with that. I like that answer. I haven't worked out if there's a situation where you'd ever look for a talent reference that's not there. I guess, oh, yeah, this would happen all the time if you, this would be an error condition. And I have to think about that. That maybe should be a parse error. You get a talent reference when you're trying to add a talent to a character. And you've looked for a talent that's not actually part of the world. And so I'm changing my mind yet again on what should this do. And I'm going to say that if I got a null back, that I should, it's not there. And to me, that means that you've added a talent to a character that isn't part of the world yet. All right, excellent. So let's change this test yet again, because what I really want is for it to throw an exception. All right, and that seems like the right thing to do. I need to think about what I'm doing for my skills too. I think trying to add a skill reference for a skill that's not there should have similar behavior. All right, and I looked this up yesterday. I wonder if I actually have this code in place. I don't. I took it out. Okay, so just give me a minute here. I will bring these documents over onto the screen to share. But the window is a little oversized. It's sized for my giant screen, not my broadcasting screen. There we go, and we are looking for catch 2 test exception. There we go. Check throws. I think that's what we want. And I think I almost want to do it with a string matcher, but I don't want to get too specific just yet. I am willing to go so far as saying that I'm going to require it to throw a parse exception. So I think that's fine. We don't need to capture a variable anymore. Where it throws as. Okay, so I'm going to require that to throw a parse exception. Nope, I didn't import the right class, so there we go. That's imported now. It's good. Required throw a parse exception. Did not get a parse exception, obviously. This messaging isn't great. I don't really like that. But I'm not submitting a pull request for the check library or the catch library. I have my limits. Alrighty. Let us that's in the model. Let's just go into here. Let's go to get talent reference. There we go. So if we don't contain the name in our list of talents, throw a parse exception, and I need to include the name in there. Oops. I could use the string or the C++ format library, except that no standard library really includes it right now, which is distressing because it's very nice. It works much more like I would see in C# or maybe even Java, but it's really close to C#, and the C# model is really good for making these messages. So this is msg.str.c_string. That's a lot, but it is what we have. Oh, I don't want a parse exception here. I want a model exception. All right, so I'm gonna have to go change my test. Okay, so that's good. I'm good there, but I need to go change my test. Let's run this and just make sure everything's good. Test should still fail because I'm throwing back the wrong type of exception. Yep, I got an unexpected exception type, so that's cool. Here I want a model exception, not a parse exception. Look at that. Okay, it passes. That's good. All of our tests are passing right now. This is a stellar time for me to save some code. Let's do the add-p so we can see what we've put in there. All right. Apparently there's a lot of code formatting stuff that went on. I did reformat a file because it got a little funky because I was editing it in a different editor on a different operating system. Long form output works. I'm going to push this so it's up on the central server. By the time you watch this, you would be able to go and actually see the code and see the changes that I made for all the excitement that that's going to bring you. But hey, you do you. All right, I'm looking at this. I've got my output. I feel like right now, that's a really good spot to end the stream on. I can do a short form output. Well, in fact, let's set that up so I've got something for next time. I know what I'm going to go into. So let's set up a test for short form output. So displayed as plain text. Okay, so it's another when. In an ideal world, I would be able to put in a string parameter that just said do short form. Extending what you can do on a stream is a little risky. Frankly, it just looked a little advanced for me too. I didn't feel like I was ready to try it. So I'm not going to do that. I am probably going to, let me think. All right, so this format is just a little bit wrong. We're just going to add a method to the class. There's got to be a better way to handle this. I can make a different type of stream or something like that. A stream that specifically for short forms, but I'm not there yet. I have to think about that. So right now we're just going to put a method on Kathy, and that can always be extracted to be a new object yet. string expected is going to be equal to like these first few lines are actually all going to be the same. But then it's going to be talents. Oh, that got a little extreme. There we go. It's going to be like that. And this is going to look like Braun. Braun 3. And the agility 2. The output formatter for those is already done, which is really beautiful. And then weapons are going to look like and that's again, this is an established form. This is actually the form used in the official books, so I feel quite comfortable saying yes, this is the right thing to do. And now I can just require that expected is equal to, well, let's do it this way. There, that's good. Now I have to give Kathy the short form method, so that's what we're going to do. Put this over in the model and we'll make it empty. All right, and we do nothing here. All right, and now do that. It should compile and it should fail in an exciting way. It did not. Ah, I didn't put this into the character. There. Now I feel like that's going to go better for me. We'll see. Hey, look at that. I got a failure. All right. Output was nothing. Expected this other thing. All right. That's the perfect spot to leave this. So I want to thank everybody who's watching this. I don't think anybody showed up for the live view, but everybody who does watch this, if you have questions, go ahead and leave them. And we will see you at another time.